Hi there. Today we're going to visit Log Still Distillery, just outside of Bardstown in Kentucky.
Make sure you subscribe, hit the like, and smash that notification button. We don't want you to miss anything. Yes. How's your day going?
Fantastic. It's a lot better now. Try to make it snappy so we get right to it.
We're not hungry today. Yesterday we were trying to places, so we got them all in.
So welcome to Log Still Distillery at Dance Crossing. Log Still Distillery is the name of the distillery. Dance Crossing is the campus that holds Log Still and the distillery and the tasting room. We have a lot of big plans for the campus. So there's going to be a lot of things going on other than distillery at this location. We want it to be family oriented. We want to do a bunch of different things other than just having a distillery. But the story starts back in the 1830s with this gentleman named Joseph Washington Dant. He was the start of a storied tradition of the Dant families in this area and bourbon. There used to be 15 distilleries in this tax district, which we'll talk about a little here in a little bit. But between Prohibition and the dark days of bourbon in the 1960s, there are not any distilleries around here anymore. But we wanted to bring bourbon back to southern Nelson County. When the distilleries closed, southern Nelson County just kind of wrapped their arms around the Dants and helped them out. So we're really trying to pay back the community for taking care of us when we needed it. But it started back in the 1830s with this gentleman named Joseph Washington Dant. He was a 16-year-old corn farmer back in the 1830s. And back in the day, you didn't want to waste corn. If it sits out for any particular time, it's going to rot. So he wanted to make some more money on that extra corn. And of course, back in that day, did that by making bourbon. But unfortunately, he was a 16-year-old corn farmer, so he didn't have a lot of money to invest in one of these fine stills like you see over here. So he had to use a little pioneering ingenuity. He went out to the woods, chopped down a poplar log. He halved it, hauled it out. He took the copper that he could afford and used it as the piping in the middle of it. And that is the start of log stilling or running on the rough, where we got our name. He did start a tradition with that. There are several other distilleries that use that to kind of get their foot in the door with making some bourbon. So here's a picture of the old Danton Head Distillery at Gethsemane. DSP KY47 was taken in 1955. Is anyone familiar with DSP number? You guys? So a DSP number is a distilled spirits producer number. It's essentially the social security number for distilleries. The federal government's not worried about your name. It's not worried about, what your label is, what you're making. If you're doing your paperwork, you got to have that DSP number on there. Like I said, social security number. Now, when the Danton Head Distillery closed its doors, the old DSP number went with it. Wally didn't like that idea. The three Dants were opening up a distillery on the original footprint, and he wanted to try to get that DSP number back. So he started shaking some hands and buying some dinners and kind of started a process that lasted 1 year and 9 months. And 2 weeks before we were due to open, they allowed us to take the jersey out of the rafters and allowed us to have this DSP number 47. So we consider that our lucky number 47. If y'all were upstairs, you could probably see the lucky number 47 shirts. It's peppered around different stuff, like we got our number right here, and there are some rules for like Kentucky straight whiskey and stuff like that where you have to age 2 years. Bottle and bond has to be 4 years, but in order to officially make bourbon, you could take it out. You could take a new charred oak bowl, dip it in that spirit tank, pour it into a glass and drink it, and you're officially drinking bourbon. But you're drinking crappy bourbon. It hasn't had the chance to age. It hasn't had the chance for Mother Nature to do work as far as being sucked into the barrel and spit out, letting the seasons do its magic. While we do have 350 acres, we don't want it all peppered with rick houses because they want to make this a different kind of destination. They don't want it to be just come, enjoy your time at the distillery and leave. They want it to be a bunch of different things that bring you here, and then there happens to be a distillery here. They also want it to be very local forward. They want the ability to be able to help the locals, especially after COVID, kind of get back going. So we really want to make this a place to go for locals as well. We're going to start talking about the Legacy Wedding and Event Venue. Actually, if you look through the woods here, that's what we have across the holler. That is a 200-seat convention space and chapel. They do have the breakaway walls in there, so you can make your little wedding as big or as small as you wanted. The other space could be for the reception. We could do business meetings, conventions, family reunions, just any kind of different thing. Another place for locals to kind of do stuff. Of course, we have the Amphitheater, which is right behind us. If y'all haven't got a check to see it, you can see it from the porch up there pretty good, but it's a 2,200-seat amphitheater. We opened last year, I think around May until October, but we had some pretty big names. We had Little Big Town was our most successful. We had Cheap Trick, Kansas, Winona, Ricky Skaggs, Sammy Kershaw, Goo Goo Dolls, Everclear, Hoobastank, Playwalker, and a lot more that I'm forgetting. We have the Homestead, which is the first bed and breakfast we had open, which is right over here. Sleep 6. Each of those rooms is named after a lady, because of course the ladies don't get the respect they deserve as far as the work that they had to do to make these distilleries run. Not only were they working in the bottling plant, working in the gardens and doing whatever, they made sure dinner was on the table, the kids had their baths and everything else. So one way to show our appreciation is to put a little plaque with their names on it. Hopefully that elicits a story about them and kind of helps that spread their name. Down the hill and right off the lake is the Poplar Cottage, Sleep 6 upstairs. It's got sleeps two downstairs in efficiency, and you can literally cast your rod off your porch and hit the lake. You're that close. So that's another nice spot. This did so well that they're talking about peppering a couple more around the lake. It's owned by our friends at Limestone Branch, which y'all probably heard about. That was the beginning of Yellowstone bourbon. All right, guys, let's taste. So what we have is we have a dry gin, we have a barrel finished gin, and we have our bourbon. So we usually like to start from left to right just because it goes from lower proof to higher proof. We start with the 86 proof gin. If you want, take a little nose, take a little taste. If you
Salud.
There's a little tonic if y'all want to put a little splash in there after tasting. You want some? Just right. Now if we move on to our barrel finished gin. So this is gin that was finished in a wheated bourbon barrel. It's not this gin poured into a wheated bourbon barrel. It's a whole nother botanical set. So it's a whole nother animal that you're putting in here. So go ahead and get your nose and get your taste, and it should be a little bit of a different animal. It's got the yellow tinge because it's been in a barrel for 6 months.
Better without that.
Yeah.
You like that one better?
Yeah. No.
No?
I like this one.
Now let's try our whiskey or our bourbon. This is 100 proof, 6 year, high rye. It is 75% corn, 21% rice, 4% malted barley. 86
Very
years.
sweet. It's really good.
Pretty
Very
good.
soft.
Smooth start, hot finish.
That's good.
Smooth.
6
For
years is
100
kind of a
proof.
little sweet spot.
Yeah,
It keeps
for
it
100
in
proof.
too oaky. You still get some of the caramels and the fancy stuff you want in bourbon out of the wood, but it don't get overly oaky. And I think it's pretty smooth for 100 proof.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of that hug, Kentucky hug kind of coming down.
Through.
Yeah.
And I smelled that
I like
like
this
when
one.
we were hot, but it's not as hot as
I like that one because we can make drinks. This one we can like this.